Hi, this is Doug. Earlier this past week, the NTSB released their preliminary findings into the derailment in Ohio of that Norfolk Southern train. I like to do an update on Norfolk Southern since they have major operations here in Decatur, Illinois. That train was going from Madison, Illinois, out to Pennsylvania, and I believe it came through Decatur, Illinois. The number on that train was 32N, which is a train that frequently comes through the city of Decatur. And I believe that train probably came through. I don't have the exact map of where that train went, but I do believe it came through Decatur, Illinois. Also, we have one of the largest NS rail yards in the United States right here in Decatur. So it's always of interest because we do have a lot of hazardous materials coming through this city. Now, again, the accident, according to the NTSB, happened on February the 3rd. And how's my hair look? Nice? Yeah. Anyway, it's Sunday. I'm not combing it. Anyway, the accident happened February the 3rd. Jennifer Homendy of the NTSB, she's the chairman of that organization, that federal agency, and she was giving out some of the details that they have. This is, again, only probable. They're not even coming out with a probable cause yet. Probable cause will come out next year. They're just giving some of the basic facts of what they know so far. First of all, she called that accident in Ohio 100% preventable. She's not calling it an accident. She says it was 100%, that's her quote, preventable, that accident with that Norfolk Southern train. Now, they're going to be holding a rare field hearing in the spring in Ohio near where that train derailment took place. They don't do those very often, but they're going to have witnesses and that kind of thing coming up in the spring of 2023. They do know that the whole incident started with car number 23 in that train. It was a 149-car train. It had 2 locomotives up front, plus a DPU toward the back, about mid-train. Anyway, car number 23 is where the problems started, and the situation was they believe it was probably a wheel bearing that went, and that car was carrying pellets. Plastic pellets. So, got some locomotive action here. Anyway, it was carrying plastic pellets. And they believe that the wheel bearing went and created a fire with those plastic pellets. It was a combination of a hot axle and those plastic pellets, which then started to burn. Now, the temperature, according to a defect detector, was quite significant. It was 10 degrees air temperature, 10 degrees Fahrenheit for those of you in the U.S. I don't know what that is Celsius. You can probably calculate it using your cell phone. But anyway, it was 10 degrees outside Fahrenheit, so very cold that evening. The ambient temperature of that wheel bearing when it went over a defect detector was 253 degrees above ambient. So it was 253 degrees above 10 degrees, okay? So, I mean, that thing was hot, and it was about to go. The defect detector sent a message to the engineer to slow the train and bring it to a stop. The NTSB says the engineer did exactly what he was supposed to do, that he responded properly. So they're basically taking any blame right off the top off of the crew. The tank cars that were carrying the vinyl chloride, DOT 105s, they're going to inspect the adequacy of those cars to see if any changes should be made. And here comes a locomotive, and he's just switching down here, and he's going to drive by for a moment. Hopefully he doesn't drown me out. I'll pause. And off he goes. The vinyl chloride, again, in DOT 105s, they had 115,000 gallons of vinyl chloride on that train. 115,000 gallons. There were a total of 20 hazmat tank cars. 17 of those were filled. The NTSB also pointed out a problem that the first responders had. When they come up to an accident, and I'll try to show you here with a video cutaway, when they came up to that accident, they usually look at those red placards that are on the side of the tank cars, with a number. I got another two locomotives going by. Don't know if you can see them. There they go. Anyway, those red placards tell first responders what's in those tank cars so they know what they're dealing with. Well, the problem is, and part of the investigation is going to be, first responders got there and those placards, which are made of plastic, had melted away. They were gone. So they're going to look at whether they should be using plastic placards anymore. She also mentioned aluminum. I don't know if the placards are ever aluminum, but she mentioned that aluminum melts too, but she didn't say that they were aluminum placards. I had the impression they were all plastic placards. But anyway, they're going to investigate whether they should come up with a different method of using placards or different material so when the first responders get there, those things have not melted away. Now, again, the final report won't be in for another year and a half. It's going to be quite a ways away before we have the final report. And we're going to let this locomotive go by here again in a second. But anyway, two locomotives. Anyway, those final reports, Decatur and Eastern Illinois, if you're interested, on the NS Main. The final report, a year to a year and a half, but a big investigative hearing, field hearing, will be taking place this spring, and we'll try to keep you on top of that. And I work over at WAND TV in Decatur, Illinois. I'm going to try to put a piece together in the next month or two to basically explain what happens if we have a situation like that here in Decatur. As many of you who are older know and live in Decatur, in 1974, we had a major rail yard explosion in what is now the NS yard, the Norfolk Southern yard. Back in those days, in 1974, it was Norfolk and Western. Major rail explosion then that killed several people. So anyway, always a lot of interest when you have flammable materials running through your city. All right, this is Doug. Catch you next time with one of my normal train videos, which are a lot more fun than this. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate it. And if you get a chance, take a look at one of these fun videos.